Right, now I, Farid, will be explaining the conflict involved in the monkey's paw. The main conflict is character versus fate. Obviously, the paw plays with destiny. The Fakir specifically enhanced it to prove that the evidence is he wanted to show that fate ruled people's life, to prove that this destiny ruled people's lives. And every time the white family attempts to change their lives, consequence follows it. Although the only good consequence of the wish was the last one when it made the knocking stop. Basically, humans shouldn't control their own fate and should go with it and make sensible decisions along the way. The second one is conflicts between character versus self. The second conflict, which is clearer in Mr. White because his emotions seem to fight with one another. He was curious like a dog with a bone, but then he gets terrified due to his one-way thinking. Although his greatest struggle here is when his wife begged him to bring their son back. But the evidence show from Mr. White, for God's sakes, don't let it in. It is because Mr. White is fighting against his own fear because he is scared that Herbert maybe will be returned in an horrifying condition.
So hi guys, I am Aina Batrisha. We continue with the character and characteristic written inside of the short story. So Mr. White is the center of the gist of the monkey paw at the beginning. At the beginning, he would complain, jokes with his family, and even he was the one who became curious about the paw in the first place. So he was curious about the chess game. He made risky decision and ignores the signs that this almost relate to the wish he will make. He may not be selfish, but he ignored Sergeant Major Morris' warning, and his curiosity got the best of him. As the saying goes, curiosity kills the cat, and almost make him very stereotypical tragic character. Moving into his wife and the mother of his child, Mrs. White seems like the more adapted to white couple, but then she goes to an almost every 360 degrees change after their one and only son in the story dies. It ruined her character. She didn't care for how, or she just want him back. Now let's get to the son, Herbert White. Like a normal boy, he can be funny, sarcastic, and only slightly aware of his surroundings. He treats everything like a chess game, and only because he wasn't the last standing character. It isn't so obvious how he could have been, but in the story he is still important because he was one of the 200 pounds. He is the one who suggests 200 pounds, and he was also became a horror of the story. Lastly, let's talk about Sergeant Major Morris. Honestly, his role is to be the actual parents or wise man. He obviously had experience dealing with the poor, and his oddly descriptive stories about the war and plague and strange experience in India, and the fact that he was pale, and the thought suggests that he was traumatized by anything related to it. Yet, nothing less, he is still important, similarly to a stop sign of the monkey paw. So that's all. Alright, firstly, context symbolism. The paw is the main symbol in the story that represent greed at first. The white were not as desperate, but with it enabled them to the temple, when they started realize that they do at least want extra money. Sergeant Major Morris already know that this is dangerous. He literally threw it into the fire, but Mr. White still grabs it. Why? Because the possibility of wishes is too tempting, even when it would give an opposing side effect. Thank you.
It's my turn now. I, Nurratujana binti Sharom, I will be expressing about the themes of the short story, where we have discussed on two respective themes that very suitable for the monkey paws short story, which firstly is actually fate and the dangers of interfering with the destiny. Most readers would say that The Monkey's Paws is a story about greed, and the thing is, the whites are not actually greedy people. They didn't wish for power, a kingdom, or everlasting life. They only wanted 200 pounds, just enough money to pay off their house. The story is trying to say that even small needs can be dangerous when humans themselves try to control with their own fate. Not only, but the family keeps treating the concept is a joke, but they actually don't want to just accept enough. Mr. White even says, "It seems to me I've got all I want." Yet he continues to wish, which means he has made the wrong move. The second theme is that grief can turn love into something monstrous. At first, the White were playful people, very family oriented, but the minute Herbert dies, his mother changed completely. She became very desperate, and even when the story didn't portray her as an evil character, it hits very deep for the readers what she felt. Because we realize that she just wants the heartache to just go away.
Hello, I worry that we will continue with the point of view of the monkey's paw. Alright, so firstly, I would like to address that the short story is written in the third person. The person point of view is written using he, she, they, and it pronouns, and we've recognized that W.W. Jacobs had used a narrative storytelling mode with the words he, she, and furthermore Mr. and Mrs. White to convey the presence of his characters. Secondly, I would like to address that the Monkey's Paw short story is written in omniscient narrative, where the readers get to dive into the thoughts, emotions, and even the reactions of the characters within the story. For example, the sentence, "a silence unusual and depressing settled upon all three." From this sentence, we can understand that the narrator knows the characters beyond their actions, which cancels out objective narrative storytelling. Furthermore, said the frivolous Herbert indicates that the narrator knows Herbert's personality, which suggests omniscient or limited omniscient narrative. But Herbert wasn't the only character the narrative storytelling was able to assess. The sentence "she said hysterically" indicates that the narrative knows Mrs. White's moods, and subsequently, the narrative manages to enter Mr. White's fears, including his imaginations and the images within his head. Okay, moving on, we have identified 3 literary devices within the story. The second literary device is auditory imagery. From the line, "the gate banged loudly and heavy footsteps came toward the door," makes the readers feel the consequences themselves through the sentence alone. The message is delivered in a dramatic and intense way as it becomes more immersive. Lastly, the device that we used, the device that we can indicate is allusion. From the sentence sounds like the Arabian Nights. Now, this was what Mrs. White's reaction to the Sergeant Major's explanation of the monkey's paw. That is basically a magical object that grants wishes. But why does the allusion, the Arabian Nights, make sense per se? Because much like the paw, the Arabian Nights usually involve magic lamps, being granted exactly 3 wishes, similarly to the allusion of the sentence, something coming out of the Aladdin movie. The sentence is quite similar. And with that concludes our The Monkey's Paw by W.W. Jacobs short story analysis. Thank you.